bad.
We are live. Right in mid drink of water. We are live.
I love it.
So
hello, everybody.
Okay, I'm sure
It's
it has
changed, right?
been in a year, hasn't?
Wow.
Yeah, I think the last time you guys had me a couple days before the NBA draft.
NBA draft. We're like in the back drinking like Kool-Aid on my back couch.
And we agreed on Lonzo Ball, right?
Yeah, I think so. I actually went back and listened to a little bit just to remember, try to refresh my memory what my locked in was because I wanted to keep track of that. And I think my locked in was the Chicago Bulls will trade Jimmy Butler to the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 days before it happened.
And he got it right.
So you got to listen to his second locked
the
in.
Tibbs factor. I don't know. So
Wow.
here we are.
So you have a post basketball, correct?
Yeah.
And now you're an Orlando Magic media member. How's that been like?
Oh, it's been great. So I've been writing for the website for a couple of years, and this season in particular, I've been really blessed to get the opportunity to go and cover the games and get credentialed here and there. There's like 5 of us that write for the website, and different various factors. Some people moved out of state or whatever work, and so I go and I do coach pregame conferences, postgame conferences, locker room access, the whole deal. So Wednesday, Magic's next home game against Milwaukee Bucks. I'll be there. So
What's the best part about going? Is it watching the game or the Mexican?
No, they have like
that Baja
ice
so good.
cream. They have like in the media room. It's kind of like this cafeteria where you kind of never know who you're going to run into, former players
I love
and
that.
front office people. But they have this all the toppings and stuff that's like pretty sick, and that's good. You get a meal ticket and they feed you and they take care of you. But actually, it's like the game. It's kind of hard work. I'm just kind of typing away. Very rarely am I actually like taking it all in. So every once in a while, somebody will hit like a half-court shot during a timeout to like win, a free mortgage for 2 months, and the crowd will go crazy, louder than they do during the Magic game. And I'll look up and I'm like, oh yeah, and grinding, and then you forget.
There's not a lot of cheering going on in Orlando right now.
What I wanted to say is, look, I appreciate the grind, and I think what you do is terrific. But in all seriousness, I'm not holding back. When you build a house, you start with the proper foundation. You don't just put up walls.
Right.
I think the Orlando Magic are trying to skip the process, if I can steal that from Joel Embiid.
Ooh, okay.
I don't understand what they're trying to do. And maybe you see something that we don't, obviously, because you're there game in and game out. What is the direction they're going in? Because when you think they're going with the youth and the draft picks, they trade players that they got through the draft. They're actually pretty good. You get rid of Victor Oladipo, get rid of...
And like it's all hindsight now about that trade, but when that trade happened a year and a half ago, I was like, gosh, this is awful. Like you have to pay Victor. Like I didn't think Victor would ever be good, but I thought he was a really solid. He's a B- player. He plays defense, and you need to start somewhere. You have to keep some blocks in your team and just go with Victor, Gordon, keep going. You got to keep Aaron Gordon. We'll talk into it. We'll go into it.
I'm about to say, because even if we have so much to talk about. We have NBA, we have March Madness, but I really want to focus on the Magic right now because obviously you cover them. So, okay, even if you have Victor Oladipo, say he doesn't become the All-Star. This is back in time. Sure. If he's not the All-Star you wish he had, or he could be, he's still a solid NBA player.
Yes.
And you get rid of him. Then you get rid of Tobias Harris. Yeah. Then you sign in a three-point guard-oriented league. Oh. You sign that are defensive minded, and don't get me wrong, defense wins championships, but when you're not even in the playoffs, don't focus on the championship, focus on getting the right proper foundation. What are they doing? Look, what is the direction they're heading in?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the GM and the president of the team right now, this is their first year. So all of those moves you talked about with the former GM Rob Hennigan, he was a
I met him.
I did too, and
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, and he seemed smart. Like I think
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he was book smart, but it's just like people probably called him and be like, we talked to Rob today. We're gonna steal Victor from him. It's like one of those things. He just
the Tobias Harris deal was awful.
Yeah.
Because they got 2 guys back, Brandon Jennings and Ilyasova, that were both in the last year of their deal. So you basically just it was awful. I think he had just hired Frank Vogel, and he knew Vogel kind of is a defensive-oriented coach, so they signed Biyombo, traded for Ibaka. They were kind of zigging, like you said, when the rest of the league was zagging, and they were going offense, the rest of the league, and Orlando was going defense. But now you've got 2 guys that are just trying to figure out what do we do with somebody else's mess? Like we can't fix that. We can't go back in time.
That's true.
I don't know if in the next year they're going to deal Fournier or Vucevic or whatever, but I think it starts with Jonathan Isaac because that's really the only guy they've drafted so far. The jury's still out on him because he's been injured this year, but he's a piece. If they bring back Gordon, he's a piece. They already traded Elfrid Payton this year. So
For nothing.
They're kind of in like a clean up somebody else's mess and rebuild this thing, but you got to get lucky in the lottery because nobody's going to sign with the Magic. Nobody's going there with no other all-stars on the team. So
you say rebuild the Magic. How can you possibly say even rebuilding now? Because it's been since Dwight left. It's been just rebuild. It's like you need to acquire some pieces, and you have to win. I mean, draft picks are great, but you're getting rid of your draft picks now. The players you did draft, you're trading. So it's like if you're going to acquire players in free agency, you have to at least win some deals.
They've never really been a franchise in 25 years that have had a lot of luck signing free agents, maybe outside of McGrady. They've been like 1-2 ping pong balls away from getting, Porzingis is one pick ahead of them. They get Hazonia instead. Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, a couple picks away. So they've had some lottery not luck,
misses.
Some clean misses. Some other teams in the NBA, like they tank a lot more effectively, and the Magic wins some meaningless games. It goes crazy, but it's not easy for them right now. Like the whole organization is just kind of it's a long journey.
Two things. One, we'll jump into the Aaron Gordon, but we had a Magic. I went to the Knicks game that you were talking about.
More Knicks fans than Magic fans.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Without Porzingis, there were still more Knicks fans. Trey Burke was dominating in the second half, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is hurting the Knicks' draft pick. I was so upset. But I went there. I was happy that the Knicks won. But I'm sitting in our seats. The wife got them for me for Christmas, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing all the not banners. And I'm like, who's the greatest Magic player ever? I debate. Of course, I did off script to him last show. I thought there was 4 people. They killed me on the Nick Anderson thing. I think you think, is he not even on the list? Like, I think he's got longevity.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a top 4. Like, I just thought a whole Mount Rushmore thing. So I had Nick Anderson, Shaq, Tracy McGrady, and Dwight. And it was a consensus. 2 of us had Dwight, and 1 had Tracy McGrady. Is there some?
That's what everyone was saying. You can't leave off Penny.
Penny was good for like 2.5 seasons. Better than Nick Anderson in a Magic uniform. Not their career, like Grant Hill's NBA Hall of Fame or what he did for Detroit. Just as the Magic, is Penny a better Magic than Penny?
Yeah,
I mean Nick.
And Nick Anderson's got the longevity for sure. Penny was obviously the core piece. The couple years in LA, there was like 1 or 2 years where Penny had this series where Miami was like the 1 seed and Orlando was like a 7 or 8. And he had like a 40, 15, and 8, like 3 games. He was kind of like awesome. That generation's Russell Westbrook. Yeah, so I mean, but he had injuries. What was it, like back, knees? The poor guy. He really would have been
okay. So
a
if
Hall
you
of
have,
Famer.
Probably, I concur. But if you have the top 4, who's the number 1? Who's the greatest Magic player ever?
I mean, like Shaq and Dwight are Hall of Famers, but I mean, if I was gonna it's weird. If I was gonna pick somebody like in a driveway, 1-on-1, like just for skill, like I think Tracy McGrady is the best.
McGrady. So what's up, Coach Ham? Big up to you. So we kind of have 2 McGradys, 2 Howards.
I said Shaq was the best dominant force ever to put on an Orlando Magic uniform. Yes, Dwight. It's almost like LeBron in Miami is the best player to ever play in Miami.
Like Dwayne
Wade is the best Miami Heat. Right. And that's the kind of thing. I think Dwight Howard is the greatest Magic of all time. But Shaq is the most talented. And Tracy McGrady is the most skilled offensively, but I would still take Shaq over Tracy McGrady.
He was getting 33, 34. It was
dynamic scorer who didn't win.
All right. Old school. I got to go with Aaron Gordon. Like, this is a topic there's been so many rumors he can go to Phoenix, Indiana. There's places out there that want him. I want Orlando to drive the Brinks truck to his neighborhood, give him whatever he wants. Like, it stings a little bit. You got to keep one guy. You got to say Gordon. And here's another thing, too. The Magic's always had a decent bench in a weird way. Like, even, how you say, Medondas? Who's the
Hazonia.
Okay, pretty close. You know me, I'm a wordsmith.
How can you say they have a decent bench? You can't pronounce the player.
But sometimes Aaron Gordon, I just want him to you're the best player on their team, take over. Like, I really think he is a 20-8 player. I really do think that. And he's a little bit better passer than what people think. If he gets the ball in his hands, he kind of reminds me of Blake Griffin a little bit. And you got to keep somebody. You got to say, hey, guys, he's the last name we're going to say in our, names going out to the game. Like, he's the poster. Here's the guy on the billboards. You got to keep Aaron Gordon. Am I wrong?
I think it's weird with them. I think Aaron Gordon is their best talent. So, of course, like what you're saying, you need to focus around him. But I don't think they honestly was a better option that presented itself. They would take the better option. And I also think he's in a toxic environment where he can't succeed to his full potential because they had him playing more of a perimeter type player, right, for a little bit, playing that 3. But then you saying he's more like a 4.
Yeah, I think he should be a 4.
So I think what the problem with him is that he hasn't been able to succeed because they don't really know. He doesn't know his own identity.
Sure.
Yeah, 4 years into his career, he's also had 3 coaches. So, I mean, it's just like there's been the whole organization is just completely unstable. But you're right. Last year, he played the 3. This year, he's played exclusively at the 4.
Yeah.
And he had, like, a little success. Like, the first month of the season, he was, like, at the top of the league in three-point shooting. Everyone's now he's been just ice cold in 2018, for a few months. He's been injured in and out of the lineup, so he's had some health problems. And he's a restricted free agent. So no matter what team throws money at him, it'll ultimately be Orlando's decision to bring him back or not. It'll just be a money thing. Again, the GM and the president didn't draft him. So is he their guy, or do they want to go somewhere else? I don't think he is
a guy you build around. I think he's the best talent for them.
He reminds me of Victor. Like, you could let him go. He's probably not an A piece, or he's not a second piece on a championship team. But you have to keep pieces. If he's the third piece, and then if Isaac does a Giannis, and then you get a draft pick this year.
I've been telling you, I don't see it. You've been calling it. I don't see it.
I still like Jonathan Isaac.
Just because you're tall and athletic doesn't mean you can become it.
I'm just saying you have to give him a shot.
Yeah, give him a shot. But you're saying it like when he does become, it's like he may never become that.
My point is sometimes you have to overpay for the third or fourth piece, and then that could develop into something. If you let him go for nothing, now it's like someone in the draft. He doesn't have a go-to second guy, go-to third guy. I think you keep him as a 4, young, athletic, and I always feel like it's a toxic environment. They're losing. So if you got a pulled hammy, you sit a little bit more. If they were winning 55 games, LeBron, he's playing every single game right now. They're winning. If they were losing a lot, I don't know. I just think
if you were able to get the general manager in the room, the owner in the room, you're able to sit down and have an input on what goes down, what would be your first move? Like, what would you tell them? How do you get this Orlando Magic team in the right direction?
I think they need more scoring, more skill, more shooting. That's just the way that the league is heading towards.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys that they signed, like Bismack Biyombo, was his 1 year in Toronto, and he had Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah,
so if you only tell him just rebound and defend and do nothing else, then whatever. I mean, he's not worth $17 million. But the point is they need more skilled people. Like at the beginning of the college basketball season, I know we'll get into it. I was like, like Trae Young was born to be on the Magic, like he's the next coming of Steph Curry and stuff. But he hit kind of a wall, and there's really not as many point guards in this draft as there was last year, where I think 5 of the first 9 picks were point guards.
I got a sleeper for you.
They need guards. They need skill, help.
Would you say you call up and make trades, or is that something you look for in the draft by tanking more?
I don't know what they could get accomplished with the trade, because I just don't think the players on Orlando's team are valued as much as maybe they are even within the organization. In the NBA, they call them empty stats. Fournier, Vucevic, even Aaron Gordon. On a bad team that wins 20 games, it looks great when you're scoring 20 points a game, whatever. But how does that equate to a team? In a playoff run. So I don't know how valuable their players are, and you've got to trade something to get something back. Like they had to trade Victor Oladipo to roll the dice on Serge Ibaka, which was awful, but terrible. But you have to give up something to get something. And when you barely
sound right, you're just saying that.
Here's my problem with that. Serge Ibaka was on the last of his deal, so they had 1 year to convince him to re-sign. They trade away Victor Oladipo, who was a restricted free agent. So like Aaron Gordon this year, you always have the last say. Serge Ibaka, he had the last say, and he's a veteran. He wanted no part of some rebuild, and it was just awful. It was an awful fit from the beginning.
And
oh yeah, absolutely.
The worst thing is, just say if the Magic were good that year, just say if they were 41-41, and Serge had like a little bit of a better season than he's ever had. He's gonna ask for a super max money, and you're gonna have to overpay for him. It's like, hey guys, you have Victor. He's homegrown. He's a Magic player. A wing is more important now than a big. It's just he's a good player. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense.
I'll say is,
I still got a little sleeper.
I think what I do is I get on the phone and I call. I'm willing to trade Aaron Gordon. I'm willing to trade because listen, you're not going to get. It's just not an attractive place for free agents to go. They're poorly ran. So you have to start somewhere that makes a statement for other free agents to see. If they see another, because if you go there, who have you attracted so far with Aaron Gordon? Nobody. So if you trade him and get a valuable piece for him, don't just trade him just to trade him. If you get a good veteran that has a name to himself, that could possibly recruit other people.
Put a name there.
How much is he getting paid? Like, what would be a reasonable price?
He's going to get 20.
People that would take a young, talented player for $20 million.
No, I mean, put a name. Who would you trade Aaron Gordon for? I'm trying to think. You keep thinking of it. I'll throw Aaron. If you keep Aaron Gordon, pay him $20 million for 4 years, give him $80 million. You gotta hope Jonathan Isaac does pop a little bit. Okay, maybe he's never an all-star, but if you're a 12, hey, if Orlando gets 1, 2, or 3, you pick one of the stud big guys and you go that route. Sexton from Alabama, legit point guard, scorer. He kind of reminds me of Donovan Mitchell, and he literally changed Utah overnight. That's kind of crazy. Little Damian Lillard type. The second one is Collison, Darren Collison's little brother from UCLA. He's an absolute stud.
Aaron Holiday.
Aaron Holiday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So close, but so far.
Same school.
Yeah, same school.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far. I know we're live. I don't want this to stick. I think we're recording on Laserdisc somewhere.
You have to go Trae Young.
Definitely Trae Young, but Holiday has a bigger ceiling. Like, he's explosive, can handle the rock. He's got a little Russell Westbrook. Like, I don't want to go that far. I know.
You're saying Greek Freak, Russell Westbrook. These are two people you see once in a lifetime. Like,
I just
people don't live up to that.
He's going to get drafted the 9th pick.
No, I mean, good lineage. Both older brothers are in the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's just like, when you watch him on UCLA, he pops. I'm like, oh my gosh.
UCLA is a very good translatable, like, pro
NBA
system.
school.
A lot of college
Kevin
systems,
Love,
it's hard.
Russell.
So, yeah.
And you keep Gordon. I just think you keep Gordon. You go through the draft for another year or two, and then maybe you try to sign a veteran defense. I always say put a name to it. Maybe Chris Bosh wants to come back. You don't have far to overcome. The 6 through 10 seeds are bad. Yeah. So all it takes is one. Donovan Mitchell is making Utah a playoff contender in the West. It takes one draft pick.
I'm just sorry that I'm on the Magic for this long. I was like, I thought they'd give it maybe a minute.
Some respect. I'm always critical of the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
So we have an Orlando Magic media member here, so it's only right to just say it face to face what's going on with them.
I love it. When I go all the time,
Girls Creek team would beat them.
Yep.
They have that Mike D'Antoni system.
It's close. Let's jump into March Madness, and then we'll jump back. March Madness. Okay, the brackets are out. People have been busted, bubbles burst, all those B words. You ready? We'll skim through it. We'll go I think guys will go to the South. You guys, whatever.
I think there's only a handful of teams that could possibly win it.
Okay.
And I think
5 to 10 teams should.
Yeah, I think people get caught up and are like, oh, anybody can win it. No, not everybody's going to win it. You need a good head coach, you need a star player, and then you need some seniors. My locked in is who's going to win the whole thing, so I can't reveal that just yet.
Okay.
But go your style. So who do you have? Let's go at least Elite Eight, or just give me your big team.
Yeah, just a couple of things from the South. I have Virginia in the Final Four from the South right off the bat. But one thing that was crazy, Arizona to me I would have them as a Final Four team, but they have them as a 4 seed in. I have Arizona losing to Virginia, so that definitely stood out to me. The bottom of the bracket, Cincinnati and Tennessee, I don't like at all. I love Arizona better than those two. They're 2 and 3s. So I have Virginia. If they can get past Arizona, they're skipping to the Final
That's a tough one, though.
Yeah, no, it's a great game.
Yeah, that's a great game.
That could be a Final Four game. So that's what I got in the South. You guys with me with that?
No. I see it. You see it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Kentucky and Arizona circled as like a second-round game that I know a lot of NBA scouts will be on their way to. I believe it's Boise to go watch just because of the draft implications. But
7 NBA players in that game.
Yeah, the South, Cincinnati are 1-2 in the country in defense, so that's going to kind of be a slug-it-out game if the chalk kind of plays out. Cincinnati, being a UCF alum, I watched them. I watched Wichita State. I watched Houston a lot. The American Conference was slept on. It was a really, really strong.
It's underrated conference. It is.
And I thought Cincinnati might be able to sneak in with that 4th number 1 seed, but they got a 2, which is pretty strong for that.
Especially to me, Tennessee's the weakest 3. That's what the lines. To me, it's overvalued what number you get. It's all about matchups, and Cincinnati's in a great spot because I have Virginia going far. That's a spoiler alert, but they're not Kansas. They're not North Carolina. They're not Duke. They don't have that great coach and that legacy. So even you guys know that Virginia is the 4th team ever to not be rated preseason AP top 25. They weren't even in the top 25, and now they're the AP number 1 to go into the tournament. 4th team ever in the history. So it could be kind of fluky, maybe some people, but
Coach Bennett is such an underrated coach. They play just so hard, but it's a double-edged sword. It's hard to pick Virginia with a lot of confidence because they guard so well, but just one bad game, they struggle to score. And with the pace they play, just one game going cold from the field, shooting 30-35%. And I do this to myself every year. Arizona is just so damn sexy. They're like that girl that you just you can't trust, but you have to. Every year you fall for the same trap. They've got the number 1 player probably in college basketball, Arizona, DeAndre Ayton. So sometimes sometimes they've got chaos right now with their coach, with all sorts of stuff.
Over here. I'm looking at both your sheets. I'm like, nah.
So, I mean, I think Arizona gets hot, gets lucky, and beats Virginia and kind of embraces the chaos and marches to Final Four.
I want to call out something that nobody's talking about. Kentucky's awful this year.
I think so.
So their standards, their question to you would be, now that you have he was known as the best recruiter in college. Mm-hmm. You could say Coach K is the best. Now Coach K, I feel like, has taken over that, landing Williamson, Zion.
Yep.
I always mispronounce his name. Recruit now. So he starts recruiting.
He embraced the one and done. Yep.
Now, is this the end of Calipari's reign in Kentucky? And it could seem like I'm a prisoner of the moment. Prospects, if you have a really bad year, kids in high school will see that. And they're like, well, I kind of don't want to go there. Look what happened this year. Do you think this is the end of Calipari's kind of reign of getting the best players?
I mean, I don't know. A really bad year. I kind of understand what you're saying, but they did just win the SEC tournament. They're still a 5 seed. Like, how high is the bar? And, at the end of the day, it's about dollar bills. Like, people watch the draft also. And year after year after year, Kentucky players are in the lottery.
That's true.
And they're back at practice and they're on the facility. All it takes. And then
go to the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what players want to see. Now, do you think college players should get paid?
Wow, that's a question out of left field. We're doing the South region of the bracket. That's like a whole episode.
Well, I just hear getting paid, going and all that stuff, and then obviously what's been going on right now.
Can I throw mine out there before you throw out yours? Yes. Absolutely not.
I feel absolutely.
That's horrible. They're getting paid $180,000 to go to Duke for 4 years. They are getting paid.
How come the coaches can get paid but not the players?
Because it's a job. They're in school.
But people aren't coming to watch the coaches coach. They're coming to see the players play. So why should the people coaching and the players – if we go and we're performing in front of a whole bunch of people, why would the people being like that are setting up the – but how amateurish can they be making this much money? Millions of dollars putting on entertainment for millions of fans and not one pennies to them? You know how much money the NCAA has made? So I'm not saying you need to get paid NBA levels pay, but to not get any sort of income, people
they are.
What?
They are getting income. They're getting free board. They're getting food. They're getting back massages. They're getting a watch.
No disrespect
to education.
But no disrespect to kids that get there through an education scholarship. They're not producing that much money for the school as these players are. How do you feel about getting paid for players?
I mean, I understand both sides of this. does the line get drawn? Because it kind of sounds like a Title IX lawsuit in the making. Like football players, basketball players, men's sports, they generate a lot more money. Tickets, television revenue, jersey sales, whatever. But does that mean that you don't pay female sports? Does that mean that you don't pay men's baseball? Do you kind of put it in tiers as far as how much money the sport generates? Like that's the legit necessarily see is who gets what.
I think you do, because
is it all D1 or is it just the Power 5 conference?
I think it's how much you bring in. An NBA player on the bench doesn't make as much as the star because they're not coming to see him play. They're coming to see the star play. They're coming to see LeBron James play. College players who are putting on the major ESPN networks, those guys should get paid for what aren't that must-see TV. Obviously, it won't get paid as those future NBA picks will be.
Max, you watched the Golden State Warrior T-Wolves game today?
Yeah.
It was a great game, right? They sold out. Steph Curry didn't play. He was hurt.
Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson.
No, but my point is, do you pay Trae Young? What if he doesn't play?
Hall of Famers.
Aaron, are you going to go to a UCF football game next year?
I go to all of them. Season ticket holder.
It doesn't matter who the players are. Next year, the year after, it's going to be literally a 9-year-old right now will be the UCF quarterback 7 years from now. It does not matter who the players
are. I definitely argue that, though, because when Zion Williamson, when he comes to play, when Lonzo Ball played, completely changed culture to UCLA, tickets sold out just like that. And you think that's just because of UCLA? No, Lonzo Ball definitely had an effect on that.
He did get paid. The Los Angeles Lakers, UCLA they gave him the skills, and they gave him, you have to play 1 year right now. That's the rule, to play 1 year in college. They gave him the opportunity. He took.
Yeah, I don't like that one and done rule.
He took a great opportunity. He was great in UCLA, and then he became an NBA professional player.
Can get paid.
Yeah, it's their job. Like
they're professional coaches.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, okay, you're a great salesman. Say you graduate from high school. It's like, oh no, you have to do this before you can get a job. Even to get a job.
That's a separate
argument. What I'm saying is, so if you're
I agree with that.
High school. What I'm saying is, if you're going to force kids to go to that, even though they're NBA ready, they should at least. Well, okay. Well, there's probably
LaMelo is trying to do something.
It's definitely the best option to go there.
Agree.
So if that's being said, you're directed to go to this.
Agree.
If you get injured, you can't take care of your mom, even though you may have an opportunity. These kids come from poor areas that they are trying to make it to help their families. So if they get injured playing something that they don't make any income off of, they no longer can take care of their families if they could if they get paid.
I think you're just going to start to see, at least in basketball, a lot more frequency of guys going to either the G League as they're expanding the G League, or Europe, or something for a year or two just to get paid. And then, oh Lord. Because, look, college basketball is kind of a factory, and it's just nobody's going if you're going to get drafted to get an education, unfortunately. So to get back to the one and done rule, I would love to let kids, the LeBrons, go up football 3 years.
You just solved the college system.
Locked in.
Because what can happen is once you get into March, I mean, these kids that are one and done, they don't have to go to class right now. There's no grade, so it really isn't NCAA collegiate in the spirit of things. It's just a factory, of college to pros.
Agreed. And I agree, the one conference, I'm like, I don't think they're a 3 seed. Throwing that out there right now, I have UNC Roy Williams going to the Final Four.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hands down on my part.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe they have 2 starters that, played in back-to-back national championships.
Yes.
One they lost to Villanova, and last year they won. So a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
I like Xavier a lot. The best college basketball game I saw this year was Xavier Villanova. I thought the Big East was back this year after being disbanded as a really strong, conference. I've got Houston upsetting UNC and marching to the 8, and Xavier going to the.
Oh.
Calvin Sampson, Houston, got to represent the American Conference.
Dave's examining his sheet like, what did you say?
Look at my sheet, guys. I have San Diego State beating Houston in the first round.
That's a great first-round matchup.
Yeah,
Steve Fisher, coach of San Diego State, used to be the coach of the Fab Five.
I have San Diego State, so that's awesome. That's a good first rounder. Yeah, we can get into that. We're going to go east side. I think that's where Biggie rapped and Puff Daddy. There you go, kids. Listen. There, guys, UF is the 6th seed. I got them going back to the Elite 8. I have them upsetting Purdue, Florida Gators, my guys. But, yeah, chalking it up, Villanova goes to the Final Four.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's right.
Right. He's got a system. You know, he recruits his type of guys. They don't always make it in the NBA, but they play hard. They're undersized. They're solid.
They're great college basketball players. And maybe,
although he does have a couple that'll make it in the NBA.
Bridges?
Michael Bridges, Jalen Brunson, left-handed point guard. But yeah.
Bridges is getting that Kawhi Leonard talk out there.
Yeah.
Could be that borderline, like 8 to 11 pick.
3.
Okay, so
we got
Villanova.
Midwest.
Yeah. Shout it out, Max.
Man, you know.
Oh, hold on. Before we move these, because I got to give a shout out of my wife is watching. I got to something circled here.
Hey, Lauren.
Marshall, you know, Lauren was born in West Virginia. Everybody in the whole family went to Marshall. This is their first time in the tournament in over 30 years. Wow. And they've got a point guard, John Elmore, little white kid. If there was ever a carbon copy, Jason Williams, who played at Marshall also.
Yeah,
this kid was, I think, top 5 in the country in scoring, top 5 in the country in assists. Charleston, West Virginia, could be kind of a darling in the tournament, but that's a tough matchup of Wichita State. If they were to win, they could play West Virginia in the second round. Marshall, West Virginia.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad blood in the state of West Virginia, so that's just something kind of cool.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That's what I have Marshall and West Virginia. Maybe it's just because, you know, the high school with Dallas touchdown maker.
Dallas Baker touchdown
By the way, I'm
Marshall.
so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The man that works the magic behind the scenes, JT Money. We got to get the sound effects after I say money, like money. Like,
I should have hooked up my phone to the board. I could have done it.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Next time we'll see JT, he's going to have this brand new locked-in green T-shirt coming. That's a spoiler.
Anyway, so we're going to the Midwest?
Yes, Midwest.
Look, I'm going to jump to the chase. Is that the expression there?
This is the best bracket. Throwing this out right now.
Yeah, you have the 2 teams that obviously stick out to me is Duke and Kansas.
Those are 3 blood, just huge epic
all in
schools.
the same bracket.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. And then one of the sleepers before going, it's one of those things. I had Auburn as a dark horse Final Four. It's like, holy shit! They got Kansas, Duke, and Michigan State.
Is the most ready to win this championship, and like without getting anything away.
Okay.
You have arguably the best player in the draft with Bagley.
Yeah, he's awesome, Marvin.
Yeah, and then you have the best coach in the whole tournament.
I concur.
Coach K.
I agree with that.
You have a senior player who's experienced, won a championship. He's a scorer, Grayson Allen.
Pachulia.
Yeah, but who can actually shoot, and who doesn't deserve to be in the league, by the way, Zaza, in case you missed it. And we looked it up. I always forget his name. What was his name? Carter.
Yep.
That's down low, 6'10", 254 with Bagley down low. So you got size, length. You got the senior. You got experience. Got a nice point guard. You got the coach.
Duvall.
Duke is winning the Midwest.
Yeah.
Hands down.
You know, Coach K, I mean, I don't know how many years this has been. He's got Team USA experience. He's got all this experience at Duke. These guys, they adjustment mid-season where they really, Duke had some trouble defending. It wasn't the normal Duke team defensive system. And he switched to a zone, like one of the first times in his 30-year career. Yeah. And it really got them back on track. That's
so long.
What a great point.
That's kind of what I would maybe be hesitant about Bagley if we're getting back to the NBA and the draft and stuff, is I question his length and his so skilled. Look at the lottery picks in this region in the Midwest. You've got Jaren Jackson Jr., one of my favorites in this draft from Michigan State. Miles Bridges, Michigan State. Carter, Bagley.
He didn't have to.
Got Trae Young in Oklahoma. So as far as scouts, this is the region where you've got some serious players.
Yeah, and Miles Bridges did not need to come back. He could have entered the draft.
He could. It was smart for him. He was going to be a team 12 to an 18 pick, which could be a top 10. Yeah, no, but the draft is stacked this year, so it's one of those things.
You saw Michael Porter Jr. come back, by the way.
I know.
12
he's in the tournament.
Rebounds.
Yeah, he's going to be a top 10 pick.
He was
Florida
projected
State,
to be
one
number
matched
one.
up against Florida State.
Yeah, it's a good matchup.
He was projected to be number
Oh
one.
yeah. When Cleveland made that trade, it was like they want Michael Porter.
Do you think people are looking at him to live up to the hype still?
Yes.
I mean, it was just an injury.
Yeah, I mean, it's a back injury, so at that age, you just you're a little wondering what's going on because,
Hesitant.
I'm in my 30s and my back's just starting to kick in now, but at 18, you really don't like to see that in a kid, and you wonder if there's going to be something reoccurring. But I think I hope he'll be all right.
Yeah, it's sad that an injury can cause a 14-year career, Hall of Fame type of talent. He's awesome. So, okay, you have Duke in the Final Four.
Yep.
Guys, I got Kansas in the Final Four.
Over Duke.
This is why it's like one of those things. I love Michigan State this year.
Coffee.
Like, I love Izzo and Michigan State, 2 top 5. Duke can go either way, so I don't want to go all in with that team because the other team could win. So I got Kansas sliding in. Auburn, I got to be in NC State. So I got Kansas in the Final Four. Bill Self.
I can't argue. Kansas is a solid team.
Yeah.
That's why I said this is the toughest bracket by far, this section, but I still have Duke.
Look at the coaches in this region, too.
know.
I mean, Bill
Legends.
Self, you got Lon Kruger there at Oklahoma. He's been in the Final Four with the Gators, and he's had success at Illinois and Oklahoma. And
Auburn is
Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, Bruce. Yeah,
you got some great coaches in this.
So awesome. So we went through it.
Goldstone bringing in the knowledge.
Got to represent the coaches. Those are the hardest working guys in the.
That's why they deserve all the money.
I feel like I could coach. Deep down, I really do.
You feel like you can do everything over there. UFC fighter.
I feel like you can recruit. You've got just all this
sky's the
confidence.
limit.
I want to buy what
the
you're
sky's
selling.
the limit. Just be like,
Wow.
listen.
You want to buy some sponsorships for London? We're selling, folks.
All right, so we have the Final Four.
Yeah.
Okay.
Virginia, UNC, Villanova, Kansas.
I have the same thing except Duke instead of Kansas. So
Okay.
Substitute Duke into Kansas, and your
Cool.
Final Four is
Arizona, Xavier, Villanova, Michigan State.
wow.
Nice. I like. It's like the
It's
movie
crazy.
Clue. It's like Colonel Mustard with the nightstick in the professor room.
We can all disagree, but yet I see every point. That's why I love March Madness.
We won't go further in there.
Yeah.
We'll just leave the Final Four. And it's going to get busted anyways.
Okay.
So let's jump to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm about to say I have one debate to already just kick off this NBA.
If you want to say hi to anyone, our social media platforms, you want to break this up a little bit, say hi, how you doing?
Okay,
out there,
yeah,
folks?
yeah, let's break it up.
Community, Facebook.
Yeah. Goldstone. And also
North Face jacket, I like that.
subscribe to our YouTube page. Give it a thumbs up. Locked in with 2 N's. I think that's pretty much it, right? Buy a t-shirt. What's the
shirt.slash.
I don't think you need to tell the slashes, right?
No, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Ooh, I mean,
Not the slash on the end, though.
Yeah,
that
not the
always-
end.
Because some people didn't know we had shirts.
No,
So
I usually wear it all the time, but it's a little cold out there. It's winter in Florida
Well,
right
you
now.
know you can get a long sleeve locked-in shirt then.
Whoa,
don't own that one,
the
do you, Dave?
producer. God dang it. I'm not a millionaire yet,
all right,
guys.
anyway. The Houston Rockets, and I've been shout out to 104.7 by the way, Mr. Frank Scott really supporting locked in
minute.
So yeah, the locked in minute. I've been saying 18-game win streak. They're playing so great with Chris Paul, James Harden, Capella when they're all playing. They have an insane record together, and I'm hearing they're the best overall team and they could beat the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry, I can't even read that to be honest with you.
We're 44 minutes in.
All right, thank you.
That was supposed to be secret.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, I couldn't see, so I'm sorry. Anyway, we got to get a big whiteboard. The Houston Rockets, everyone thinks are a legitimate threat to the Golden State Warriors.
They are.
I'm going to say this right now, they're not.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying it, and I'm going to go again. I'm not even a Golden State Warriors fan. I'm a LeBron James homer. But I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Golden State Warriors because when you watch them, they do have – I love their depth. They had a Joe Johnson. They have just Eric Gordon. They have P.J. Tucker to add toughness. You got Capella. You got
Ryan Anderson.
Yeah, you have a legit squad.
Chris
But
Paul,
I
one
don't
of the
think
greatest players ever.
unless this Curry injury really is a little more serious than we think, because it's now 17 ankle injuries he's had, I don't think they can stop the Golden State Warriors defensively. Can't beat the Warriors at what they do. The reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers beat them that one year was because you play physical, you attack the paint. I don't think they could do that. And I also think I see James Harden creating plays, little ISO ball. You can't do that against the Golden State Warriors. They help too much. They collapse the paint. I just think the Golden State Warriors beat this team 4-1. I don't see what everybody else sees. I think they're a legitimate team. I just don't think they match up with the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, but unless the Golden State Warriors get tested in the early rounds, maybe fatigue, wear down, injuries, then you have a real series because how deep Houston Rockets are. But am I crazy to think that they're a no threat Warriors?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a threat, but I agree with you. I don't see them being able to match up with Golden State just like everybody else in the league. I mean, Chris Paul makes a huge difference. You know, that presence.
Don't look at me
that
Chris
presence,
Paul.
but man, it's just Kevin Durant. Hey, defensive.
Yeah, D'Antoni doesn't make the adjustments in the playoffs.
Top 10
during the
since 2018. Top 10 defense, the Houston Rockets.
And
number
I
one
guess
offense
it's one
of
of
all
those
time.
things. I want to see it to believe it.
Sure.
And the regular season NBA teams, everything changes in the playoffs. Plus, we can debate this, but we got to see when the playoffs start who's playing, because you always have these unfortunate injuries like we
That's
saw
true.
last year. You never know what's going to happen.
100% agree with guys. You can't go with
And
injuries.
Chris Paul's underachieved,
Anyway.
right? Let me slide that in there.
Golly.
I don't know about that.
We've had this debate.
Yes.
He's underachieved. That's my point.
Real
We've
quick.
had people go agree with me.
You can't just look at the numbers because Harden's so ball dominated. He's never played with
No, not
somebody
right
like
now.
that. Okay,
underachieved,
you
but
mean his career in
yes,
the playoffs?
I just think
Okay.
he's underachieved in the playoffs. Is that crazy to think that?
Yes. A Pelican and a Clipper who dragged only awful team to playoffs is a major success, and a statue will be made of this great man who plays defense, passes the ball, and scores. He had a game-winning shot against the Spurs. He loses to teams he's supposed to lose to. It's hard to win playoff series.
This is my sales pitch real quick. And I know we've debated about this countless times, but just you.
Okay.
James Harden goes to the Western Conference Finals that's actually with Dwight Howard. Gone further in the playoffs with no All-Star on his team. Not one All-Star on his team. Chris Paul had DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, who I'm not a huge fan of, but they're good pieces, solid pieces. Before the Golden State Warriors were the Golden State Warriors. That was before they had Kevin Durant. That was before their 73-9 year. That team was brought together before that dynasty. So to not go to the Western Conference Finals as an all
2 years ago, I think Blake Griffin went down in the playoffs, and they were missing him.
And Chris Paul got hurt
and
one
then
year
Chris
too.
Paul got hurt last year in the playoffs.
with that, which is a part of it.
They had bad luck, and they had Doc Rivers, who I'm not the biggest.
Really? You're not a fan of the dog?
They lost to the Spurs, Tim Duncan dynasty. They lost to Dirk Nowitzki dynasty.
Whoa, did you say
Mavericks.
Dirk Nowitzki dynasty?
Just
Come on, that's not a dynasty.
for 12 years, the Mavericks were a top 4 seed in the West, who always won playoff series. It's hard to win. You had OKC with
Dynasty.
Westbrook and in the West, it's hard to win playoff series in the West. They got San Antonio. We got tons of teams. Golden State just recently. You said nothing about an All-Star. Dwight Howard is an NBA Hall of Famer.
No, he's gone further in the playoffs though without All-Stars. He didn't have one All-Star on his team last year. But before, he did have Dwight Howard when he went to the conference finals, but he also was not the same Dwight Howard. I could argue Blake Griffin was better than what Dwight Howard was when he was on the Houston Rockets.
So you have Houston losing 4-1 to Golden State, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
hey, Dave, what do you have more?
I remember you said you had the Thunder and the.
Thunder has a shot, but I'm going to Houston right
You
now.
said Thunder in the finals. That's
They
what I'm
might.
putting you on blast for. They're not winning the series.
Their bench is better than Golden State, correct? Houston's?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'll take it.
Golden State's got a pretty good.
Yeah,
They have a good bench,
they show
but
up when they need to
Houston's,
show up.
because Eric Gordon's the easy best bench
Mhm.
player in the NBA, and they have depth on the bench too. Joe, PJ, good defensive, good role players. I think Houston's got. They are the number 1 offense in the history of the NBA.
But let's not get it twisted. That's regular season offense.
Okay.
When it comes playoff
Sure.
time, it's completely different.
They have the MVP on their team, and
I have 2 MVP Golden State Warriors.
I'm old MVPs, but this year, right now, James Harden is the best basketball player alive this season.
No, that's still not true. Because just because you win an MVP doesn't make you the best basketball player alive. When Derrick Rose won it, he wasn't better than LeBron James.
He's the most valuable player to their team this year.
Most valuable and best is 2 different things.
Okay, valuable.
Okay.
So if you took Harden off or Durant, they score the best and they have the best player on the court going for their team.
I would still take the Golden State's offense still in the playoffs.
Okay, you might.
Because their foot is off the gas during the regular season.
They're the favorite. Like, I'm not saying they should lose. I just think Houston's got a shot. I really do think that.
So do you go 6 games, 7 games?
Yes.
I hope you're right. I really do, because I want the Golden State James to be rested, and I want LeBron James to win his 4th ring. I just don't see it happening. I don't.
You have any cool, fun stories of the West? You like Portland? Portland's playing awesome. We talked about this before you got in here, Aaron. The Minnesota Timberwolves is going to be such a hard out.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to win a playoff series. Like, whoever they play in the 3 through 10 is 1 game away. It's a mixed mash. It's a jigsaw puzzle. But whoever Minnesota plays, they're going to lose to. But, God, they're so good. Like, they're a really good team. When Butler comes back healthy, they're awesome.
I take this team over the Thunder.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tibbs, he plays his starters so many minutes. And sometimes his core of Wiggins and Towns. And so, they'll get in and they might win a couple games here or there, but they're probably still a year away and some pieces away from really being in that same level as Golden State. Oklahoma City's got the star talent, in Westbrook and in Paul George. It's just, the pieces don't fit as nicely as you would hope. I was hoping when they made the Paul George and the Anthony trade that they could scare Golden State a little bit, but it just hasn't worked out the way that you would have wanted to see it.
He's a Laker next year.
Like you said, Steph, his ankle will be something to watch, but if he's healthy, they're going to march right back to the finals, I think. But
I have a proposal or just a big debate here.
Okay.
LeBron James' destination free agency is obviously what everyone's talking about. You have Philadelphia saying complete the process, and the Lakers like, forget process, we have banners. Then you have the Rockets are a contender, the Cavs. I'll take a little bit of a cut. The greatest player of all time comes to my team. We win a ring.
NBA, in the NFL, you could do that. Tom Brady could say, hey, sign Odell Beckham Jr. I'll take $8 million as the free agent. But as they can't, Karl Anthony Towns right now can't say, I'm going to redo my deal for next year's cap.
LeBron could, though.
Sure.
If you're LeBron, you don't consider that?
No. Because I'm just throwing it out there. Going to Minnesota, that's great. No, they're a championship easily contender. That doesn't guarantee you a championship.
I don't think anywhere you go guarantees you a championship.
Well, if he goes to Golden State, it guarantees him a championship. So if you would do that, you would go to Golden State. I'm just as your theory. Your theory out there.
No, good
Minnesota
point.
doesn't lock him in.
So where does he go?
The championship. You ready? Yeah. I know where he goes. It's over. We're recording live. He's going to stay home at Cleveland. It's so easy. I don't know why this is a thing.
Oh, that's no fun. Come on.
He left Miami to go back home. He's staying, guys. He's not going anywhere.
Well, the only thing I'll say to that is he left Miami to go back home to win a championship, which he's done. Yeah. So I think he's at a point in his life where he's just got to make a decision. Do I have a career or do I just finish my career in Cleveland? There's a lot of pressure playing at home and just that whole dynamic of being around all of these people that know you from back in the day that want a piece of you. And he's LeBron James, so he wants to be this movie star. He could do that from anywhere.
Sure.
It's easy to say he's going to go to Los Angeles and get involved in the movies and all that, but he could pretty much do that anywhere. I still think I see Los Angeles as a destination because he likes Los Angeles and that's where he wants to live and he can live there in the off season, but it's just it's easier and I think it's convenient and I think he will have more success recruiting other stars to come to Los Angeles than he's getting recruiting people to come to Cleveland.
That's a great point.
That's a great point.
That's the market.
That's actually the best point ever unlocked in history. That's a really good point. Real quick, what you said about him leaving and the pressure of him playing at home. The season he disliked the most was the first year in Miami. Because, when he went, they made him the villain. He didn't like that. LeBron is he wants to get loved. He wants the kids to have him sign his LeBron's on the way out of the locker room. That's what LeBron wants. So if he stays in Cleveland, he's like this hometown legend, staying at home. He walks to the NBA Finals for 3, 4, 5 more years easily.
It sucks. I'm a LeBron fan, but that
Seattle
is the notch
Seahawks
on
are going to
him.
win 5 Super Bowls, and that happens quick.
And that is a huge notch on them for not doing it.
Curry gets hurt and Clay wants out to go to LA because LeBron doesn't. Golden State happens quick. They can end quick. And into this championship, I don't. I think Houston's got a shot. I think Cleveland's got a shot. It's hard to win championships. Golden State's got 2, 1 with Durant. Like, they're not a dynasty yet.
I think you're underestimating Golden State, actually, if that's possible, because I think this is a different group. First of all, first ever team have 4 Hall of Famers. Instead of just like the big 3, you have a big 4. And then they're all selfless guys that this is people that are not big egos, know their role.
They all have a spot.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why if they win another championship, I don't know if they're going to disassemble the way other if I'm LeBron, though, going to Los Angeles, I think there's almost more pressure, though, because if you go there and you don't succeed, you're not succeeding in one of the biggest franchises ever, and you made another move. And I still think he's the best player in the world, but he only has a handful of years left. You don't have time to do that whole gel, work out the chemistry type year. You need a success now.
Yeah.
But if he stays in Cleveland, what free agent can he get to put him over the top? Because this kind of, for right now, for this season, there's no more moves to be made.
Yeah, I mean, the Kyrie trade did not work out, and so that was a big step back. And, I mean, you can make an argument now that Boston and maybe Toronto, one of those see it to believe it things, but that they've closed the gap, where it was just if you've got LeBron James, you're marching to the East. And now at least there's a little resistance there where it's not going to be as easy finals in the West. But you get a couple stars that come to Los Angeles. You know, Lonzo Ball is there, and he kind of distributes. And the other part of this is the coaching dynamic. You know, like, does LeBron James want to go and play for Luke Walton? Is there like another coach out there? Because, you know, that matters. You know, at this point of your career,
Greg
like
Popovich.
when that's his guy. You know, that really is.
Yep.
You know, he doesn't shy away from telling anybody that wants to hear that he thinks he's the best coach in the NBA. And you know, so yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Back to what you said, a free agent. Him in Cleveland.
Makes sense, I guess.
Butterflies.
I don't think that puts him over the top over Golden State.
There's players out. There's always players out there, and then pretty soon, give it another year or two, there's going to be players like a Paul George, or there's going to be players who you don't think they're not chasing rings yet, but give it 2 more years, and Damian in a playoff series. I'm going to Cleveland.
I think it's a legitimate point.
DeMarcus Cousins.
We're putting a lot of faith in LeBron James, but a lot of the time the faith has to be in the front office.
He's earned my faith.
No, he has earned my faith too, but the people make the moves is the front office, and do you trust the front office?
They made great moves.
I think the general manager has proven that he knows what he's doing.
Okay.
But him and Dan Gilbert, when you don't have a good relationship there, that can collide. The team was up for sale. Supposedly that story kind of died down. Dan Gilbert and him had their relationship. They yell at each other. That's a serious thing to consider.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Plus, it's Cleveland. L.A., Sunshine, Cleveland.
Aaron won that one.
I know that. You don't have
So
to
LA
love
is
where
number
you're
2.
from.
Yes. To me, there's
like you guys both say LA is definitely number 2, not the 76ers, not the Spurs, not the Rockets.
Okay, let me throw those 3 out right away. 76ers, no way.
It could work. You're saying no way. I think it could.
No way. I think, look, Ben Simmons is awesome. He's going to be an NBA Hall of Famer. Joel Embiid, if he stays healthy, and I hate saying that, if he does, he's an NBA All. Those 2, LeBron, Simmons, and Embiid don't work. Those 3 don't. They're all 6'9", 6'11", not great shooting, slashing, dribble the ball. It just doesn't
Ben
work.
Simmons can't shoot.
Yeah, can't shoot. It just so, and they're super, super young, like way too young. Like at least LA is going to they will get Paul. No, they're going to get Paul George. So you're going to get a superstar who's a 9-year veteran. Philly can't add a Paul George.
They could. They actually could. I'm serious. They could. In the free agent market, if LeBron signs, they would have enough room to get another one.
But what players
they
want Philly?
They pay Redick. If LeBron Simmons, that is definitely attractive for
Throw me a name.
Paul George.
Paul George ain't going to Philly.
If LeBron were to go there,
it ain't sunny in Philly.
Okay, but if you have LeBron James, it's sunny anywhere.
Damn, good call.
I'm just saying, if you have LeBron, Embiid, Simmons, and Paul George, that's an all-time great team.
I don't think it works. And here's my Houston. And I love Houston going this year. He likes to dribble the ball.
No
he
chance
wants
LeBron
LeBron's
wins
hands.
that, by the way?
0 shot. That's locked in. James Harden's the MVP. There's just not enough time left, and Houston's got the best. If they lose the rest of their games, I still think they have a better record than Cleveland.
was on the come up for a few weeks, and Anthony Davis was putting insane numbers up. And I think he made a little bit of a push for MVP. He just got hurt, and he's kind of been in and out of the lineup. His numbers since Cousins went down have been ridiculous.
Fantasy basketball
He's
numbers.
basically been just putting like an organization on his back, and that's a team that was a fringe playoff team that's now like, I think a 4 or 5 team in the West. So, you know, he has to get some consideration, but Harden.
Yeah. So Harden, and then Chris Paul, point guard, dribbles the ball a lot. LeBron to Houston doesn't work. You can't have 3 guys have the ball at all times. Like 2 works because then there's for 48 minutes it's Harden or Paul dominating the ball, getting whoever they want open. If you have 3 players, it just that doesn't jump. I don't think that works.
I typically do that, but when you have 3 insanely smart basketball IQs, I think they make it work. I really do. But the only problem is you're getting rid of so much depth.
Yeah.
It may not even be worth it.
They would have to kill Eric Gordon and Capella or Ryan Anderson.
For LeBron, you would do it. But.
Of course, but then that you have 3 studs and that's it.
All right. Is there any other things you guys want to hit in the NBA before we get locked in?
Yeah, I got
your thing.
Yeah. For real?
No. I've been fooled by the Toronto Raptors year after year after year. They're a great regular season team. They show up. DeMar DeRozan's having his best year.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really good.
Who on that team guards LeBron? 1.
Okay.
Nobody. And secondly, they always seem to not overcome anything in the playoffs. As far as matching up with LeBron, with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they may be serious compared to the rest of the East. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Boston Celtics.
Okay, so you have them in the Eastern Conference Finals then?
It's like 50-50 them or the Celtics. I don't know the seeding.
They're the 1 seed. Boston will be the 2, so they won't play each other to the Eastern Conference Finals. So it'll be Toronto, Cleveland, or Toronto, Boston.
Oh, then yes, it's Toronto.
Okay, that's what I got.
And Cavs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So do you give Houston more of a shot to beat Golden State or Toronto more of a shot to beat Cleveland? Yeah, that's a good one.
I just don't think any of them have a shot to beat any of them. I can't see LeBron losing in the East, and I can't see Golden State losing. I think the Rockets have a better shot of beating the Warriors than the Raptors do with LeBron.
Give me percentage. Throw me in
the Rockets beating the Warriors is like 20%.
Okay, that's good. Oh, I take that.
Yeah,
okay,
that's cool. 20%. The Raptors beating LeBron is like
5%. Aaron?
I mean, I got to give Toronto credit for improving the last 2 or 3 years. Every year they fix, pieces on their team where they add some depth here or there. I think sometimes they play a little bit too big, too center heavy, and I wish they would play a little bit smaller, more athletic. They prey on some bad teams in the East, and their record always looks great.
Yep.
And then they get in the playoffs, and Kyle Lowry just kind of. He is a guy that, when things are going well and he's shooting and he's making baskets, it's great, but he puts up some awful numbers in the playoffs, poor shooting percentages. And DeRozan is another guy who's improved a ton, but he's kind of a low percentage, 2-point shooter, a 3-point game. And while they're a great organization and I love kind of what they've been doing, they don't have the star power to overcome the LeBron James where, look, Cleveland's down a little bit, but he by himself could still beat Toronto, I think.
Exactly.
I like the pieces Boston has put together a little bit more. They've got star power with Kyrie Irving. They're athletic. Toronto, I don't think they're that well coached. I hate to say it.
I agree.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
I appreciate what they've done the last few years, but it's just I don't count them in to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Percentage of
what's like how he had Toronto at 5%, Houston at 20%.
I would give Toronto maybe a 20. In a 7-game series, they'll pick up 2 games. Maybe.
Okay, that's not bad. That's decent.
I mean, they'll compete. They're not. I mean, they're legit. It's just I just don't see the ceiling there.
LeBron is easily the best player in the series, like by far. And that's just in the basketball game. He can touch the ball whenever he wants, play defense, he plays 45 minutes. It's tough.
Last question I have for the NBA.
Sure. And then JT has his March Madness, and I like it, so he's going to throw it out there.
Nice. Does LeBron James have any shot of beating the Golden State Warriors?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of that will depend. Kevin Love, when he comes back, how healthy he is. We saw LeBron a few years ago, basically take on Golden State by himself. That was before Kevin Durant got to Golden State.
Yeah, triple-double,
you know,
35
Kyrie was
points,
out.
still
I
doesn't
think
win.
Kevin Love was out, and then he pretty much was by himself. But, you know, they depth you to death. Golden State, you know, there's just so many matchups that you have to account for. And, you know, I mean, George Hill's fine. You know, some of the bench pieces Cleveland picked up, Rodney Hood, you know, Flair Nance, that's fine. But, you know, it's a different level. It's a different level when you get to the Final Four teams in the NBA, you know, Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals. LeBron can only do so much, and while he might be able to keep his team in contention in the East, I don't think he can compete by himself with the Western teams.
Yeah, I agree with the first 35-plus points in a triple. There's nothing. The Warriors not.
I think I like Larry Nance. He's
a better Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, and he's got good momentum. I like where they're going. Guys, all it takes is one injury to Clay or Curry or Durant. It happens.
Maybe Zaza injures his own teammate by accident again.
It does happen. And then 3 years ago, Kyrie got hurt, or Cleveland could have won that first one. So injuries happen. It's a long, long series, and they're gonna have to. The Warriors guys are gonna have to play the Thunder, then maybe the Spurs, then the Rockets. That's
even though I think the
Thunder road
in that series, but I think they play physical and wear them out a little bit. That's Adams down low, pounding them, and then you have Melo who plays rough. Like, yeah,
it could be tough. And then Cleveland steals one in Golden State, and they play 3 straight in Cleveland. You never know.
He wins game 1 this year, that's for sure. Never been done in his finals history. I think for some reason he wins game 1.
I like Cleveland, guys. I'm sticking with them.
Gotta get there first, though.
He'll get there.
JT, the producer. About ours, I looked at your bracket and I'm like, oh my god, we got to get this on the podcast. I love
Straight
it.
upsets.
This is good. This is awesome.
Upsets. All upsets.
What's your Final Four?
Final Four, I got Kentucky, Michigan, Virginia Tech, and NC State.
Damn,
I love it.
That's the bracket that's gonna end up winning.
I know. NC State, I love as a big upset. They're the 9 or the 8 seed, and I like them beating. If you have them upsetting Kansas. None that could happen. Like, that's a legitimate upset. Kentucky just won the SEC. They got NBA players. I see that's a possibility.
I'm telling you, that's where the March Madness is. What in the world? But you end up being right. It's like, I have to respect it. By the way, shout out to Sean. Our producer is not here, right? Well, we have JT Money, but the other Sean, or the Sean, is not here. So just want to say, Sean, I hope you're listening eventually. And you have a great trip. I had to shout Sean out.
Yeah, he's drinking beyond drinking right
Mai Tais and pina coladas.
I wish I was there.
He's like, you guys talk NASCAR? And we can be like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did, Sean.
Yeah, or something like that, or bubble buppies or something. I was at the hospital all day today. It was crazy. He had an allergic reaction. I got my little bracelet on. I'm going to keep that on for a day or two to look cool for the kids. But, yeah, thanks, man. So is Colin. Good kid. I like him. All right. You guys ready to get locked in?
I hope you like
He's my kid.
Yeah, I'm ready to get locked in. By the way, JT Money, not trying to put you on the spot. Do you? If you don't, no problem. But if you do, I
will come back to me.
I'll come back to you. Am I starting it off, or is it guess first?
Guess first.
I think you're prepared, though.
Yes, I was.
Go first.
No, I got this.
Okay.
So, my locked in, and this is going to be a memorable one, so I'm sure you guys will call me out if it doesn't happen. This will be the year that LeBron James's reign in the Eastern Conference ends. My locked in is the Boston Celtics will make it to the NBA Finals behind Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown.
Who's guarding LeBron?
Jaylen Brown.
I love Jaylen Brown, but he's not going to guard LeBron. And then people fall in love with the Celtics because Brad Stevens is probably the best coach in the NBA. Almost.
Still,
he's up there.
The window's open still. Gordon Hayward could come back. Hasn't been officially.
I don't think they try to squeeze him in there. I don't. But even if they do, I still didn't have him beating him just because after Kyrie, who do you go to for scoring?
It's a great point.
Horford, Tatum.
Tatum's
I'm not saying that we're confident. Like, I don't rely on Horford.
18-point guy.
solid player, but I just don't think he's a go-to type guy if your option one's going out.
It's more of a default because at some point with all the chaos that Cleveland has had this year, I know they made some improvements. I know they got younger, more athletic. Little chaotic with the coach, a little chaotic with the personnel. I feel like this is not their year. I feel like they really undervalued how important Kyrie Irving was to that franchise. And I just feel like at some point, it's going to end. And I feel like it's going to be this year.
I respect you're locked in because you were locked in.
Possibly if Cleveland gets like swept by Washington, we'll be like,
LeBron to the Celtics.
Guzzle, you want me to go? Or
yeah.
Okay. My locked in is we're just released next week. There's nothing better than that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 straight days, upsets, crazy games. I love Virginia. I have Virginia winning the national championship. I'm throwing that out there. I got Virginia, UNC, Villanova, Kansas. So that means my locked in is that Duke, a big-time favorite. They're actually the Vegas #1 odds that the people think will win it all. I do not have Duke making it to the.
Well, my locked in is the complete opposite of that, and I think Duke wins the whole thing. And I think this is one of those years where, brackets are going to get messed up as always, but I think this is one of those overthink it too much, cheap, but he'll still get you a bucket.
He's locked out. Remember that? I locked Grayson Allen out like the 4th episode.
Yeah, they won. He probably is listening right now.
Here's the matchup. If Oklahoma gets by their first round game, they've only won 2 games in 2018. They've only won 2 of them. But if they win, Oklahoma plays Duke in the second round. Duke has found a little bit of success playing zone. Do you zone Trae Young and let him just rip you apart? Do you box and one? That would be a great Trae Young
entertainment right there. Yeah, Duke. I love Trae Young.
Yeah,
he's really good. He's going to be a top 10 pick. And then guys, that Duke, Michigan State, Sweet 16 matchup. Holy crap!
Yeah, so I think Duke wins it all.
Okay.
Coach K solidified if he isn't already the greatest coach of all time.
Good, awesome. Aaron, what website? How do people contact you if they want to see you at the game to get an autograph or a picture? How do they do it?
At Aaron Goldstone and write for Orlando Pinstripe Post. It's part of SB Nation. Yeah.
Nice.
Come check it out.
And lastly, make sure you tell the Orlando Magic franchise that Locked In is getting on them. So it's putting a little pressure on them. They're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Make sure you
turn it around.
Now they're going to be like, wait, Locked In's here?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. We have to make some moves.
You guys don't want to hear my lock?
Let's go, JT.
I'm going Michigan takes it all.
Dang.
I like
that's
it.
not
Big
crazy.
champion.
That's not crazy. I'll take it.
Michigan, Duke, Virginia.
Villanova.
I'm the only one picking Duke. I'll take it. Like us on Facebook, Locked In with 2 N's, the Locked In page. Join the group, the Locked In community, to debate with us. As Lonzo Ball, superstar, to Chris Paul, underachieve. Yes.
Why Michigan State's going to take it all.
Why Michigan State may take it all. Why Duke may take it all. Also follow us Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere. Locked In with 2 N's. Make sure you check out the man himself.
516-0495. Slide right into those DMs.
Pleasure having you on, sir.
Yeah,
and you're always welcome.
Playoffs around the draft. Talk a little NBA draft lottery.
And when you're wrong about your Locked In, you'll be in the studio then too.
No, but Aaron does have one of the greatest Locked In calls ever. Jimmy Butler traded to Minnesota. Great call. So around the draft time, week before the NBA draft, we'll have your top 10 mock drafts. We'll get you back on. We love it. Look at that banner, guys. We are Locked In Sports Podcast. And like always, stay locked in. You like that, Liv, right?